So when do we get to start holding white women accountable who raise men like Trump?
Hi, lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. So
Please, I came across this teaching somewhere for you, and I thought to share where people are reacting to the fact that it's actually time to hold white women accountable to the children that they're raising. You know, it's often time black women, oh my god, I need to hold black women accountable. You know, people are not forgetting the fact that most of the mass pupils are being committed by, parent colored, boys and all of that. And it is that people are beginning to talk about how the women who raise such children actually need to be held accountable for. Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts and let's start.
So when do we get to start holding white women accountable who raise men like Trump? Because white women are not passengers on the patriarchy airplane. They're co-pilots, historically and even right now. From enslavers' wives to school board Karens to moms raising little future proud boys. That pipeline didn't build itself. It was curated. It was polished and passed down like a family recipe. And yet you barely ever see white women checking each other. Because accountability would mean losing their comfort cushions, the ones they benefit from. Because yeah, patriarchy harms them, but white supremacy protects them. And far too many of them will trade freedom, liberation for a front row seat to whiteness almost every time. So when will they hold each other accountable? When it costs them more to speak up, when it costs them more to be silent than to speak up, when their social circles aren't collapsing, and when being a good white woman finally stops being their cover, when their son's violence hits home instead of outside communities, and when other white women stop swooping in to save them, rescue them, cover them like a reflex. Because here's the thing, white women could shift the whole country if they wanted to. They swing elections. They dominate political spaces. They run the PTA, the nonprofit boards, the neighborhood committees. They shape the worldview for most of America's sons. Y'all remember Daughters of the Confederacy? Yeah, Moms for Liberty now. And if they turned on white supremacy even halfway, the earth would shake. But they won't. Not until white women decide that being a decent human being matters more than being protected by the system that their husbands built. And until then, it's the rest of us doing the emotional labor, sounding the alarm, and collecting all the receipts that these women swear do not exist. Because while we all know and can obviously see that Trump is a disgusting human being, he was nurtured, coddled, and conditioned to be the type of person that he is, unchecked for years. That needs to be talked about more. And the cultivators and creators of men like this need to be held accountable and called out.
I got a serious question. White mothers, when are y'all going to be held accountable for how you raise these white men that continually doing all these mass shootings? How is y'all parenting skills? What the fuck do y'all tell y'all young sons? Y'all young sons are out here killing people, serial killers, mass shooters on a daily basis. In 24 hours, what, 2-3 more mass shooters? How is y'all raising y'all kids? And why is nobody calling out white women? White mothers. Y'all need to be held fucking accountable for the way y'all raising y'all fucking kids. Talking about black people, motherfucker, y'all out here killing people.
Cause hold up, y'all love to scream that black women raise thugs. Let's be real. Who's raising all these mass shooters? Who's raising these little domestic terrorists that's going into schools, shooting up Walmart, shooting up theaters with AR-15s? Damn sure ain't black women. Black women can't even sneeze without being blamed for the downfall of the society. If you're a single mom, it's your fault. Your son get locked up, it's your fault. But when Becky's son go shoot up a school, now all of a sudden he was bullied. He have mental issues. Oh, she tried her best as a mom. No, keep that same energy. If black women are raising thugs, then white women are raising terrorists. Period. When will white mothers be held accountable? Or is the blame only preserved for black mothers? Because if black mothers get blamed, so should white mothers too. Cause hold up. Y'all love to scream.
White people, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our violence. White violence. No more deflecting, no more blaming everything on everybody else. Let's confront ourselves. White people in America, our history is so extremely violent. And instead of confronting that, we continue to blame other people for the issues and the problems in this country, instead of just taking ownership of our part to play in everything, which is a huge part. Can we stop scapegoating other groups of people, please, and just look at ourselves? White people, it's time to talk about it. Like, it's long past time. Getting rid of other groups of people in this country is not going to make this country better. It's not going to make your life better. It's not going to make you better. I think white people are so scared to talk about race and to talk about white violence and white supremacy because they don't want to connect themselves to it. We don't want to feel like we're a part of the problem. But unless you're acknowledging the reality of how the US, this country, runs, you are a part of the problem. I truly believe in my heart, in my soul, that if you're born a white person in this country or on this planet, but I'll just speak about this country, part of that journey is to dismantle systems that have been built to oppress other people. The hard work of life is to confront yourself. How do I benefit from the way that things are? And how does my benefiting from those things harm other people? And instead of walking around with, 1,000-pound bag of shame on your back, consider it your responsibility to do that work. Consider it an opportunity that you are in the best possible position to make this world a better place by not accepting racist and prejudiced and oppressive systems for what they are and trying to contribute to changing them. Use the privilege that you have for good. I don't think that anybody can ever really love themselves without being honest about themselves, without being honest with themselves. And that work is painful and hard, but it's so worth it. White people, you don't have to consciously think that you're better than other people in order to contribute to harm against them. All it takes to contribute to harm is to stay silent and disengaged. White people, can we finally get this shit right? Can we finally take accountability? Can we finally look ourselves in the mirror and decide that this isn't good enough? We're not doing a good enough job. You aren't losing because somebody else is safe and cared for. You aren't losing because somebody different than you exists. White people, let's talk about it. Let's start having these conversations with ourselves and with each other. It's time.
It's time to bring back social consequences. Imagine if every single man that sexually assaulted or harassed a woman was immediately cut off from his friends. Imagine if we lived in a world where men were like, holy shit, I can't be friends with someone like this because I don't want to enable this type of evil behavior. Think of how much faster we would achieve gender equality and legal protection instead of spending so much time trying to convince men to have empathy for us. Those social consequences are incredibly important because human beings are inherently social creatures. So if people come together to oust the person who is a predator, to call out the person who is being creepy to women, we would bring those closeted sexists to light. It's the same thing with my content about racism. All of those people who are in the middle and they're friends with racists and they're sort of tolerate racists, if they were to call them out and issue them an ultimatum and say, hey, what you're doing is fucked up, I am not going to be in your life anymore, to stand together as the white moderate would literally create such a massive impact. Because guess what? If you're friends with a rapist, you are one by association. If you have extended connections to racist family members and you are not actively trying to educate them while doing so, you are racist too.
We need to talk about the fact that white women have easily escaped any accountability when it comes to racism. Oftentimes, they have been the forefront of these movements to degrade people of color. While they haven't necessarily always been the ones perpetuating the violence themselves, like actively doing these violent things, they have been the ones spreading the messages and sowing the seeds. And a lot of them know this. A lot of them, feed into these lies and push for the oppression of minorities, but they do so in a way that they have plausible deniability. And I've noticed this when I've debated white people when it comes specifically usually talking about the Black community. They will usually add like microaggressions, like, oh, you're being aggressive, I don't know why you're so angry, when one, it's usually through text, so you can't even hear my voice to know whether or not I'm angry. And on top of it, even if I was angry, it's just so weird for you to think that it's not okay for a woman of color to be angry about someone saying something racist. And even when we look throughout history, this is something that they've done. The women's rights movement, they literally purposefully tried to keep women of color out of their pathway forward, to leave their husbands, to own property or anything like that. They were trying to look for loopholes to keep us out of those things. Even when we look at housing discrimination, during that time, a lot of the time they were leading the charge of they don't want people of color in their neighborhoods because they feared for their children. And they've just kind of been swept under the rug because they weren't the ones necessarily passing these laws. They weren't necessarily lynching people. White men were the ones that were generally leading those charges of, committing those violent acts, passing laws, and, enforcing them, while they sat in the shadows like, oh, it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. So that's why anytime a white woman ever sits and says that I'm being aggressive or I'm angry or I'm this or I'm that, I always call it out, because you're not going to fool me. I've already seen it throughout history. You're not going to fool me right now, because I have plenty of conversations with people, and no time have I ever been called aggressive or angry by a white woman that wasn't a fucking racist. They are literally the queen of dog whistles.
This might be a stupid take, but I don't think white women truly understand how protected they are, because Black people, more specifically Black women, exist in this country. If Black women disappeared from this country overnight, white women would experience a Handmaid's Tale. I don't think y'all realize how much white women depend on Black women for social emotional labor. We were the first group of women to talk about value, women's value, and how our value should not be determined by a man. We were the first ones having those conversations. You can't convince me otherwise. When Black women fight for women, we fight for all women. When y'all fight for women, you fight for white women. You fight for yourselves and your own communities. And that has been Black women's downfall. We fight tooth and nail for all women, and our communities continue to suffer because that tireless activism is not reciprocated in any way, shape, or form. Black women have taken the brunt of violence from the male species. Black women are the Iron Dome, which is why I believe so many people had an issue with Black women saying the 92%. We are the 92%. We're resting. We're not putting in any additional effort to save this country, because we have been the shock absorbers of the majority and the brunt of violence in this country. And us stepping aside means that there's going to be another target. I'm just saying, I could be wrong.
Like, seriously, I actually like the fact that this particular topic is being brought up. Especially the period at which CK was unalive, and constant school pupils, constant people all of a sudden unaliving people and all of that. Especially that period, I was like, it is so easy to come out and talk about or react about what has been going on over the period of time, it's so easy to come out sharing your own different opinion. But the thing is that there are people who actually raised these same people. There are women who gave birth to these people and raised them in such a way when they grow up going around with school pupils or being so misogynistic and all of that. I think it actually has everything to do with how these people are raised. It's so easy to call out black women and talk about or question how they raise their offspring and all of that. So why is it that the same energy is not directed towards the people who raise the same type of, you see the massive pupils that have happened in the past, that everyone is still praying that something like that don't happen again. It's still the PDFs, Epstein file, whatever. The pastors that was caught, the judges that was caught who happens to be PDF, and all of that. Who are the women that is raising such a man? Who are the women that have raised such PDFs roaming around the street? I have seen so many videos calling out some PDF, even some of them turned to be advisors, pastors, judges. They all have a very dignified position in the society, but they all have one thing in common: they are all PDFs. And the thing is that it is a woman that gave birth to. I want to say that there is no black, but recently, after in the Epstein file, I have not heard about any black person involved in this Epstein, or whose name is in the Epstein file. I don't know. Maybe you should just give me a hint. With all of the things have been going on, especially the mass pupils, the PDF, the majority, you'll come to realize that people who give birth to those people are actually women. And if it happens to be white people or white men, the women who are giving birth to these white men, how are they raising these people until when they come of age and decided that they were going to go after schools or become PDF or not even have any respect for humanity and all of that? Why women really need to do something? They need to do something, They need to change maybe the pattern at which they raise these boys. They need to change with the way they raise these boys. I think they need to reduce the level of, maybe they would like to use the word racism, and focus more on raising good human beings that will be a good human in the society. Because let's just take, for instance, if a child or an underage decided to go take his or her father's pupil and directs him or himself to school and decides to start pupiling, that is to tell you that it's just the hand and the level at which they have given all of the privilege that you can actually take these people and do whatever you want to do. And with the way at which these people are increasing, it all starts from the way at which they are raised. What is happening? What are they not doing well? Because it's so easy to call out black women, but who is not? Why not? It's also high time for white women to step up their game on the way they raise their offspring. You know, seriously, sometimes you have to actually look towards the root of the problem, the root cause of the problem, in order to solve the problem, right? Anyway, lovelies, why don't you just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that, like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload.
Me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please do not forget that we do not, support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe, leave a thought, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.